from you guys.
Yeah.
It's
Hey, we are back on the Tuesday Red Room. Luke and I, it is, like I said, on his Facebook page, my Facebook page, and the Viking Brothers YouTube channel, Just for Flips YouTube channel. And today we are going to talk about just deal structures and leads and just how to monetize it all because
oh yeah,
the the thought process of just marketing and waiting for the wholesale home run. Now, granted, I love wholesale home runs,
oh yeah.
but I think there's other ways to make money. What do you think the wholesale home run in your list, Luke, is? How many are contacts or leads,
Ooh.
contracts to the wholesale home run? Any
I
idea?
would say, if you're not really dialed in on kind of, making the most out of every deal that's coming in, I'd say realistically, I'd say a wholesale home run is going to be every 25 deals.
Okay, so out
And I
of
mean, what I would consider, so I mean, everyone's probably going to have a different number in mind for what they think a wholesale home run is, right? So I mean, I personally would say a wholesale home run is going to be a 40K wholesaler bidder.
All right. Well, let's back that down a little bit. Let's just say a $20,000 deal is a wholesale home run.
Okay.
How many out of, is it 1 in 10?
I would say I would say 1 in 10 deals, 1 in 10 to maybe 15
Yeah. So
for
then,
sure. But I
but then,
also think it matters in markets though, right?
yeah,
Because we know obviously you're more likely to hit a wholesale home run, in say Phoenix market or say something, in California or something like that than you are in Louisville, right? Or Indiana or something like that. So I mean, we just had a lead come across our table, and it's in Indiana, and the guy wants 20K for the property. You know what I mean? So it's much more difficult to have a 20K wholesale when you're in those markets, just because again the price values are just that much lower.
yeah. So let's talk about your $20,000 indie property. That probably is a home run all in itself. I there's a guy in my mastermind. His name's Scott. He focuses on what he calls the slow flip. Have you heard this term?
No, is it just the markets though that don't have a lot of that stay pretty consistent?
No. So what he coins the slow flip is he'll take your $20,000 deal, right? Um, Maybe he gets it. He's got his private money guys, and he will take that $20,000 deal, and maybe it's, call it 10 to get it livable. Maybe it's not livable right now for
Yeah,
20
yeah.
grand, right? Maybe it's 10 to just, get it, fixed up. So he gets his private money lender, hard money lender, whatever. He takes that and he takes that 30 grand and he keeps it on hard money. He
Okay.
then sells it like our last week Rays deal, and he
Right.
sells it for like 80. Maybe that's kind of like the ballpark for something like that.
Yeah. That's
Where
pretty
he
much the numbers on this one. That's probably worth 80 to 90, but the
Yeah.
guy will take 20 right now.
Yeah, so he'll take 20 now. Let's say you just throw 10 in it to kind of get it, make it presentable, right? And then he sells that at 90 at 9% interest. Now, the 90 at 9% interest is if he takes, because let's just say he's got a hard money guy at 10%. I'm just
Okay.
using round numbers.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
payment's like 250. Well,
Right.
his 90 at 9% is like 700. Now he takes the whole 700 and he drops it. He pays the 250 every month, and then he takes the other 550 and he's paying it down.
Yeah, right,
He's
right.
basically paying his houses off on like a 6-year term,
Wow.
and then basically he calls it the slow flip. So it takes 5 to 6 years to pay it back, and then he's got the other 24 years where he's just you know
Yeah, yeah. Jeez.
collecting his payments. So
That's awesome.
that's what he
Super
he
cool.
has coined this the slow flip, which obviously, if you're here doing stuff in Phoenix, it might be a little tougher to do, or but in these cheap markets,
Yeah.
and we're sitting around the mastermind, and someone's like, "What would you do tomorrow if you went broke today?" He's like, "I just wait for the first of the month. I got another $132,000 coming in."
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So anyway,
That's
but
pretty awesome though.
back to our deal structure. So if you're just
Yeah.
shooting for the wholesale home run, that's not going to work. So how do you have any? If you're 1 in 15 deals is a wholesale home run, how many sellers are you pushing off to MLS? Because obviously, if you hear things like "I'm just trying to maximize my dollars," "I'm not in a hurry,"
Right. So I mean, yeah. So I mean, we look at every deal that comes in every way. So I mean, the very first thing that we do is we look at how we can make the absolute most money on it.
right?
And for us, every time the most money is going to be by flipping it.
Yeah,
So basically, if we look at it, how much can we make on a flip, and then we take a look and see, okay, what is the wholesale amount that we'll be able to get on this versus the flip. We will kind of just take a look at like the I guess the risk that's going to be involved with flipping it, and that'll kind of help us decide, which route we'd rather go. So again, we look at everything first flip wise, because again, that's where you're going to get the most money. It just is. You're always going to make more money if you're flipping something rather than wholesaling it, right?
yeah,
So if say we can flip something and make, let's just say it's 30 grand, right? Say it's going to be a flip, or a quick and easy flip. We'll make 30K on it. If we can wholesale that for 20, we'll wholesale it. We'll
right,
take 20 over, over a flip to make 30. We just will, because it's just less risk. But again, if that wholesale is going to be maybe 10K, we will seriously look at it. You know what I mean? We'll be like, okay, well, then that's when we kind of start getting into that next level of like, okay, well, where are our contractors currently at? Do they need work right now? Are they pretty backed up? But typically if it's a quick flip, we'll probably still go with the route of flipping it fairly quickly to try to make 30. So when a deal comes in, we'll look at that route. We'll see, first things first, we see how clean it is. So we had one that we just did where we bought it for 150. We literally came in and we put in, I think our total was $3,000. We did new carpet in all the bedrooms, and then we did a new appliance package. That's
yeah,
the only thing we did. So we had it back on the market within a week from when we closed on it. Now, the negative on that, as a lot of you guys might know, is that you got to wait, 90 days for it to hit the, for FHA,
FHA.
for exactly. So that's the negative with that. But we had a lot of people super interested, and we ended up moving it at a full price offer right off the bat. So those are just a nice option. And obviously, some would call that. Would you consider that a wholesale, Chris?
Yeah, I would say if you're just doing paint and carpet and or an appliance package, that's pretty close. Now, were you
Yeah,
tight on your numbers, or like
it
on that?
was. Yeah. Yeah. So it was going to be, it was one of those things where when we looked at it, they weren't coming off their number at all. We bought it on the MLS. So because we bought it on the MLS, you kind of have to, we had to stay with our numbers on it. Like they weren't
Yeah,
going to come down anymore. So yeah, we literally came in because the carpet was pretty bad from the old listing. And then the appliances were just, either white or black mismatched. So we came in and just did stainless steel package on it. But
yeah,
yeah, it was a tight deal. So it was to make 30. So we're going through the Binzer right now. So I think we're when it's all said and done, we'll probably make 25 on it.
yeah. So yeah, so then there you go. So you got the wholesale deal, number one. You got the flip deal. Now,
Yep.
what's your number? Just so I'm going to just bounce back to wholesale. What's your
Yeah.
number between an assignment and a double close? Mine's kind of like 25 grand. What's yours?
Yeah, I'd say it's right around there.
Yeah,
I'd say it's right around there, honestly. I mean, again, you look at the risk. I mean, so the thing is, you guys wholesale so often. I mean, do you ever come across? And I'm sure you've kind of worded it now with your potential buyers. Are they seeing your assignment fee when you're kind of assigning it over to them, or do you have it where it's
yeah. No,
hidden?
it's these days with all the disclosures and everything. We pretty much just we even in the packages, we even send over the spuds if we have copies of them. We'll just
Yeah,
bury
yeah.
it. Yeah, just
Oh yeah.
send it all.
Yep, no, for sure. Because we used to have people that would, we'd have certain buyers that they would get upset when they saw the assignment fee, like if it was a large assignment fee. And so that's when we kind of just decided, you know what, if it's over a certain number, let's just start double closing it. You know,
Yeah.
we'll spend the extra $1,000 or, you know, $2,000, depending on the price, whatever it is. We'll spend that extra amount to make sure that, you know, we're not going to have anything to worry about.
Yeah. So other deals. So we got the wholesale, we got the flip. I mean, we've been talking a lot about subject to seller financing, and Novations. Have you added that to your acquisition guys conversation?
Yeah, we haven't, and we actually just did recently. So we've been actually working on the scripts a lot over the past month or so. But yeah, we really just recently added Novations and the creative side in the last month. And again, we're not super well versed with that, but we kind of felt like we were, you know, possibly leaving money on the table, because, you know, we're talking to a lot of these creative guys, and it's like, you know, you hear that, you know, that it's funny when you talk to some of these creative guys, they don't even ask what the purchase price is. They don't care. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's so weird, like, to have that conversation when the first question that I ask when somebody sends me a deal is, what's the price? So that's the very
Yeah.
first question. So obviously I knew that, you know, okay, this is going to be a very different route here when these guys are literally asking completely different questions. They could give two shits what the price is. They're literally like, okay, well, what's the payment? And how much do they owe on it? And you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And so yeah, so Jake and I are like, okay, you know, it might be smart to kind of add this other route to our business just to kind of see where it goes. And so now what we have is, you know, 10,000 dead leads in our database. So we're having our main, you know, our acquisition managers go through those leads again, making sure they're hitting them again, just to kind of really confirm there's not going to be anything left on the table in the sense of like a cash offer, for a potential wholesaler flip. And then if they're not answering, or they're still a no, then we're now passing these off, in the route to take a look at it creatively.
Yeah, because I mean, if you listen to all the sub two guys and the Novation guys, I mean, they're all over the internet going, give me your dead leads. I mean,
Yep.
that's their entire
That's
advertising,
yep.
on whether it's a well, you see it on a paid ad, or it's just them,
Yeah.
you know, doing one of these on the phone. They're like, if you're a wholesaler, let me have your dead leads. Well, the reason they want your dead leads is because they know that seller wanted to sell, but you know, the wholesale home run offer isn't working, or
Yep.
even
It's not what they want. Right.
yeah, or even the middle road offer that you just described as the, you know, the fix and flip that you got done. I made 30 grand on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just the kind of the whole reason for this chat is like, hey, learn the different deal structures.
Oh yeah.
So you can monetize it. And it's great to hear you going like, hey, I'm going through my last 10,000 leads. I have 10,000 leads in my database.
Yeah.
That I'm rerunning through, because like,
where at some point these people have said they're interested.
Right.
That's what's crazy. You got 10,000 people, you know, and again, whether they've ended up selling already or not, you know, I'm not too sure. I mean, obviously I'm sure a large amount of them have, but at the same time, still you got 10,000 people that at some point have said yes. And so, you know, rather than us, kind of how Jake and I looked at it, rather than us just, you know, disposing of those leads or not doing anything with them, it doesn't make a lot of sense to not try to go after that route, you know. And again, we're not super versed in it, but so that's why we're excited to kind of, you know, bring someone in who knows a lot about what they're doing with it, and then basically just try to see what we can try to salvage out of them.
Yeah, I mean, if you can pick up, you know, an extra 2 deals a month or 3 deals a month out of leads that, and even on your inbound leads, let's just say, I don't know, do you know your lead per contract on your current calling system with all your guys?
You know, so it's going to start changing, obviously, because we are going to have the different routes now.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously we do have the you know, the DTS side down, but right now I would say realistically it's probably about you know, 50 to 60 leads that come into the system we're getting a contract out of.
Yeah. So let's just say I'm going to use, I know you used to start with Brent, and Brent used to rent from us. So I saw his whiteboard number. His number was 58, right?
Yeah.
So
right.
I'm rounding to 60, right? But now if you're doing one deal per 60, and you threw a creative in there,
Yeah.
and you threw a novation in there, and you
Yep.
to 3 out of 60, you just basically won. You went one contract per 20 leads, right?
Exactly. And that's how, that's how you can start, exactly what you said, start monetizing and start having a better idea of how to maximize every single one that comes in. Cause that's what, obviously in a market like this, it's still a lot is up in the air, right? There's still a lot
Yeah.
of kind of confusion. You still have a lot of wholesalers that are trying to move deals, but there's still maybe not a ton of flippers that are looking to buy right now, just because, the market and everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, the dollar scared a lot of people right now, so I think that's why you have a lot of a lot of flippers that have kind of backed off again. But again, so you got to do whatever you can to make the most of everyone.
Yeah. So now I have so we talked about wholesaling, we talked about flipping. There's novations in there, and then there's some creative financing deals. What do you think? Like, do you ever just like when you get a lead and they say, "Hey, I'm just trying to maximize." I mean, how many of those leads are you pushing off to an agent on your team?
So we actually don't do enough of that. But I mean, obviously, it's an awesome route to go, because it's like, why not, right? Like
Yeah.
if they want market value, if you've got agents on the team, you might as well say, hey, you know what, this guy wants market value. Go ahead and give him a call. Say that we just spoke and that we weren't able to make our cash numbers work, but that we have the option to go ahead and list it for him. So that's something that we don't do a ton of. And I mean, again, that's probably, we're starting to add these different legs as well. And so that's probably something that we should be doing more of. And so, yes, I'm sure, I know there's a lot of people out there that do that right now. I think the toughest thing though, is that, a lot of people, when, especially us, when we're throwing out our cash offer it's a slap in the face. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so when you're throwing out a number that's just, 50%, 60% of value, and if they have a pretty clean home, they might be pretty upset with your offer. And so it's difficult to try to turn that into a listing after you've just offered them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
55% on the property.
The question I have for you though is if you went into the conversation like,
We
hey,
have multiple routes we can try to
yeah,
go.
hey
Yeah.
Luke, we got multiple routes, and we don't know what the best fit is for you, but if you tell
Right.
me your condition and
Yep.
your time frame, maybe I can figure out the best route for you.
Yep.
But
And
um,
that's a little bit of how our Novation script is. Our
yeah,
Novation script is very, very similar to that.
because I just think if you just hopping on, we just had a bunch of people hop on. If you're just hopping on, Luke said he's getting 1 out of 60 wholesale contracts. So I'm just saying, if you learn the creative, you learn the innovation, and you have a listing
Yep.
agent on your team, and it's part of the conversation, because that 1 in 60 wholesale guy, he generally, because of the condition of the property or the condition of his current situation, like divorce, whatever problem is going on there, he's probably going to have to go the wholesale route anyway, right? He
Right.
probably doesn't have a choice. So I'm just thinking it, and the whole deal structure is, if you have your wholesale offer, you have your innovation offer, you have your creative finance offer,
Yep.
and you have your listing offer, and you could get put one in each one of those boxes out of those 60 leads.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you could be possibly converting something 1 out of 15 or 1 out of 20. So
Yeah, exactly. You get 4 or 5 deals opposed to one. So
yeah. So I got this question, and I get it a lot. Do you think the wholesale market is oversaturated?
I think the tough thing is, right now I think there's a lot of wholesalers still that a lot of them do daisy chain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously you've got the big companies like you guys, and I think of Spencer Caldwell, and then I also think of obviously whatever Jamil's company.
Yeah.
I can't think of it.
Yeah.
Keegley, yeah. So I mean, I think that you guys are the 3 biggest dispo companies, and so I think everyone knows. Those you guys are kind of the 3 places everyone goes for deals. But again, it can be frustrating as a flipper a lot of times, because you get, 20 text messages a day from other people that are sending, wholesale deals. They'll say they're wholesale deals, but then you end up finding out that it's been marked up 4 or 5 times. You know what I mean? And so that's why I think a lot of people are kind of sick of that. Which again, I don't think people are sick though of the big companies, because I mean, anytime I get a deal, if I get a deal sent to me and I see that it was blasted out by, you guys as well, I go straight to you guys.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather go to you guys rather than have someone take it off of your list, throw 5K on it, and then someone take it up from this guy and throw 5K on it. You know what I mean? I just like to go kind of direct to the source, which is usually where you're going to get your lowest price, right? So I don't know if yes, the wholesaling market is, no doubt about it. Yes, it's extremely saturated. But again, I think you just have to know how to play the game. And you have to know the right people. And so again, I knowing the right people in my sense is going straight to you guys.
Yeah. So my whole thing about this when they ask me, is the wholesale market too saturated? My answer to them is because, as started to do the education, that's kind of like the new students ask, is it too saturated? And I'm like, too saturated for what? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to wholesale 40 deals like me?
Then yes. Yeah.
Are you trying to? I'm like, if you just learn all these 4 systems, you get your real estate license, you learn some creative finance ways, you learn how to be a wholesaler, you learn some novations, and you can convert more leads than the typical wholesaler, and you should be able to monetize and get more money to put back in I always call the marketing thing the slot machine, right? You put your dollar in and you pull the lever and
see if you get something. See what comes out. No, for sure. But I think you made a great point too by saying, what is it? What is your goal? What is your plan? Because exactly like you said, if your goal is to do a wholesale deal a month, and maybe you can daisy chain one wholesale deal a month for 5K, guess what? You're doing 60 grand then. You know what I mean? You're making 60 grand a year off of doing that. But if you were to do one deal a month and it was direct to seller and it's your own deal, there's a good chance it might be a 10K deal, right? Yeah. So if it's a 10K deal, then you're doing, if you do one every month, then you're doing 120K. You're making 6 figures selling one deal a month. And so again, I think, like you said, it just comes down to what your goal is, what your play is. Do you want to have a team? Do you want to be a one-man show? Do you want to just be comfortable? Do you want to make a shit ton of money? It really just depends on what you're looking for. I know people that are out there that will literally do 3 flips a year. Yeah. You know what I mean? They'll do 3 flips a year, but each flip they make, 70 grand. They make sure they're extremely careful with which one they do. They make the flip absolutely perfect. They do everything themselves, so they keep their costs low. Yeah. But I mean, again, you do a flip every 4 months at 70K, you're making 210 grand. Yeah. And you're doing 3 flips in a year. So, I mean, it's those are the things that you have to think about. And so I don't think enough people talk about what you just said, of making sure that you have to really feel it out. What is it that you want while you're in this industry? Do you want to just wholesale? Do you want to flip and wholesale? Do you want to flip wholesale and be an agent? Do you want to just be an agent but do a project from time to time? There's so many, like we were saying, there's so many different exit strategies as well. But I mean, there's also so many different things that you can do in real estate. I mean, you make some good money for a couple of years and then buy a couple of Airbnbs like you've done and like we've done. And then, again, you can live off of a couple of good Airbnbs if you really wanted to.
Yeah, the passive income play, Airbnbs, obviously your themed ones are, hitting it out of the park. So that's a big deal. So actually I think I'm going to theme the big one this year.
Are you? Yeah. Nice. The big one in PV?
Yeah.
So nice.
I'm just not really theme it, but I'm going to put one of those little grassy things with the Scottsdale so people can take their photos.
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely.
But you do
need help with that.
Yeah, do the Airbnbs, the creative, the novations, and the listings. I just think if you learned it, and if you go back and watch all our videos, this is episode 47. We did the Novation one. We did the creative finance one.
Yeah.
We've done them all. You just go back and
Yeah.
watch the videos, and you learn all the different dispo ways, not just
Yep.
wholesaling. You can. There's definitely room for everybody, and what kind of money are you trying to make? If you're doing a couple deals a month, like you could definitely replace an income.
Right. No, exactly. And again, when it comes to replacing income, like we were saying again, we talk about this in House of Viking, but you can literally get one solid Airbnb. You could get one solid Airbnb and get that paid off. And let's just say that Airbnb brings in an average of five grand a month. If you do that and you have it paid off, that's 60 grand again, unless some drastic things change with Airbnb. But I mean, that's 60 grand mailbox money. And again, you
Yeah,
have to put some work into it, of course. So I mean, it's
yeah,
not just fully hands off. It can be if you wanted to hire a management company. But I mean, you could literally own an Airbnb that brings in 5 grand a month consistently, and it's not a ton of work. And I mean, that again replaces an income. Can
yeah,
completely replace an income. So it's pretty crazy.
yeah. So all the difference. I'm going to just recap it. Just deal structures. Your wholesale home run. You're obviously looking for that.
Oh yeah.
Your fix and flip, which is like that's Luke's go-to right there.
The most work, you got to have the most systems in place for it, but you make the
Yeah.
most money on them.
Your Novation, kind of your middle of the road house, and your creative financing deal. And if they want full retail,
Yeah.
list it.
List
It's
it out.
the what's the average Maricopa house? It's in the mid fours. The median home price is in the mid fours. That means it's a $12,000 commission.
Exactly.
They're gonna give it to you. Take it. You ever see that the movie Moneyball?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When they were talking about walking, he's like, if he's gonna give you a walk, you take it.
Yep. No, for sure. That's awesome.
So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on deal structures. And if you jumped on, definitely, I think it's time to retool and
Oh yeah.
and learn all the different structures, because the creative finance, especially what we've covered in creative finance over the last few weeks, like the creative finance deals that are being done out there, and like my buddy Andy did Tempe, he's going to pay it off in like 5 years. I got a whole YouTube on that going to be popped up next week about that deal structure, where he got the seller to carry at 0 interest. He had a small sub 2 on it. It's going to pay off in 5 years, and he's going to sit around and collect checks for the other 25 years. And if it goes all, even if it doesn't, he gets a bunch of money. So
yeah, exactly.
On a deal where the wholesale offer said no.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And that's the thing. That's exactly why we added that leg recently, because guys, the majority of your leads, if you're coming at it for just a wholesale number, the majority of them are going to just say no. The majority of people are not in a position to literally just want to eat, 45% of their property's value and hand it over to you.
Yeah.
So that's why you need these.
Good old Brent Daniels jumped on. Oh, we were mentioning good old Brent Daniels. He was I stole his 1 out of 58 on his whiteboard one day when I was surfing.
Yeah, right?
I looked at his whiteboard. He's 1 in 58.
Heck yeah. That's a good metric to know, though. You got every 58 leads, you're going to most likely get a deal.
Yeah. So yeah, if you have any questions, anybody, jump on or ask us some questions. We only keep this to like a half hour. Maybe we should talk about, since Luke says the hardest thing to do is flipping, maybe we should jump into Luke's flipping system.
Let's do it. I'm totally down. That'd be a lot of fun.
We are off next week because it's the Phoenix RIA, third Tuesday of the month, Phoenix RIA. It's at Orange Tree Country Club. It is from 4:30 to 9:30. We actually have Eric Sage talking creative finance next week, another creative finance. The reason why we're talking creative finance, because if you haven't thrown it in your tool chest, you should. So
absolutely. I love it.
All righty. So no questions, but if you have a question for us, just I'll be watching all the different, well, at least my Facebook page and my YouTube page for
I'll be doing the same on ours.
So, but we'll be back not the 18th, but we will be back on the 25th of April, and we're going to make Luke break out the fix and flip systems.
Let's do it. Let's talk fix and flip. I like it.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. See you, Luke.
See you. Later, Chris.